Welcome to Astrology Land. My name is Michael Erlewine, and I've been studying and practicing astrology for something like 50 years now. In fact, here's a photo of the Heart Center Astrological Library, where I have been the curator for many years. This is probably the largest library of its kind in the world. In this series of short videos, I will present some key astrological concepts in what I hope for you is an easy-to-understand format. At the end of the video, I will point out where you can find many free ebooks on astrology, or even get a personal StarTypes report written by yours truly. Now let's get started. As I mentioned in an earlier video, there appear to be several distinct StarType families, or tribes, or types. Call them archetypes or styles of being that are in the world, and we each kind of belong or fit in or come closest to one or another of them. You can call them lineages or whatever you want. We're now going to look at some of the main StarType tribes or relationship families. Since so much of StarTypes is about personal chemistry and attraction, let's start there. It's what I call the shining. What is it about some individuals, some people, for example, movie stars and other celebrities that fascinates us? We all know they are good looking. We can see that. They look good and we take a good look. And they are charismatic and magnetic, but what is that? What is charisma or magnetism that attracts us so? It is like asking, what is beauty? So that's my point. Regardless of the cause, we all respond to charisma, to the star quality in certain individuals. But what is it in these individuals that holds our gaze? What is it that turns us into proverbial deer in the headlights? We just can't seem to look at them enough, can't get enough of whatever it is they're putting out or transmitting. What is that? Let's call it celebrity status. What is the mysterious, attractive force that we see in certain other people? It's hard to describe, but we all know it when we see it. Some individuals, at least for us, transmit and others receive. Celebrities appear to be huge transmitters, just radiating information of one kind or another. Information that the rest of us can't seem to get enough of, can't help but want to receive and to see it again and again and again. What is it that's absorbed? Or what is it about our favorite rock and roll song or song from high school or past that we don't mind listening to it over and over, again and again, after all these years? And we still manage to pull something out of that experience that we take in and absorb. What is this something that we absorb? What is it? What is that, and what is the absorbing itself? The same thing goes for our favorite book, poem, work of art, or movie. There are some movies that I find myself watching over and over. What is it that I am getting out of that experience? Of course, we can say that we like this movie, but what is liking all about? These are some of the questions that should be held in mind when you start learning about StarTypes. Ideas as to what beauty or charisma are. In fact, all of the so-called hidden, occult, or esoteric knowledge and study is nothing more than an attempt to see the obvious. Often, what is so commonly or openly present that we as a society have lost all awareness of it. It's like the air we breathe, or the thoughts we think. The important things in life are often so obvious we have forgotten them. We can't keep them in mind. Experiences like attraction are ubiquitous, and if we are to have any awareness of them at all, we need some way to remind or remember that they are always already there, because we are that. It's hard to know what one is. Of course, that's what meditation and mind practice is all about. Reminding ourselves that we are there, being present. And another video might be written just on that, but for now let's just move on. Let's talk about charisma. Let's agree that there is something in some people that we find attractive, that we are drawn to like the proverbial moth to the flame. Our favorite movie star might be an example. They're putting out something that we can't seem to get enough of, something that makes us just stop and stare, transfixed as we absorb and take them in. We are the receivers in this case. The movie star is the transmitter. They radiate, we bask in and absorb their light. We take it in. Something is exchanged, but we don't really know what that something is. There are no books or articles that I am aware of on this subject, but we can instantly recognize that this takes place. Some would say that nothing else but this kind of transaction takes place in the world, this sending out by some and receiving by others, this information exchange. We call it communication, but what is it? Let's talk a little bit more about transmitting and receiving. What is that information that is exchanged? It's hard to say. It's hard to put our finger on it, but we probably would all agree that we each spend a lot of time involved in the process of transmitting and receiving. After all, it's pretty much what we call being social. Go to your nearest party or get-together and look around. There will be those there that we would call the life of the party, and then those more wallflower types who stand back and observe. They take it in. They're observing the life of the party. To make sense out of what I am about to present, we will all have to agree that there is something about some people that we find attractive and vice versa. Some may even find us attractive, because it's all relative. But the phenomenon I am pointing out here is omnipresent. This transmitting and receiving of a certain subtle something. We each are both transmitters and receivers alternately. We pick up information from those we consider attractive or transmitters, and we in turn transmit it to those who receive from us. That being said, I am sure you want to check out some StarTypes. Some of the types of StarTypes that represent what we could call very charismatic individuals, big transmitters. The charismatic family of all StarTypes all have red borders, like the cards above, so you can't mistake them. Just look for the cards, the StarType cards with red borders. In fact, there are 4 main relationship families, and each have a different colored border. So let's go through these 4 tribes or families, starting with the 2 most classic relationship roles, that of the lover and the loved one. We don't have to look very far to find manifestations of these great principles and their dynamic interplay at the human level. The world's bards and poets have done little else than serenade us with the stories of relationships, stories of Romeo and Juliet, of the lover and the loved one. And it turns out that these 2 classic relationship roles, the lover and the loved one, are just the main key StarType families. Not only are these 2 cosmic StarType patterns present, the lover and the loved one, and accounted for, but they are omnipresent, by and far the most important relationship roles on the planet, those of the lover and the loved one. In fact, just about all relationships, sooner or later, resolve themselves into these 2 roles. One of the partners takes on the role of the lover, while the other one becomes the loved one. This is almost like a law of physics. Now, I should note, this is not to say that they might not take on the opposite role in a different relationship. What was amazing to me when I got into this is that it is easy to see which role each of us will play in any given relationship just by looking at the StarType cards of the two partners, and we're going to get to that soon. Just the two of us. I like that song. And the two of us here is the role of the lover and the loved one. Examine your own relationships, past and present, in this regard. No matter how finely you want to equalize the relationship, sooner or later, one of the two partners will end up picking up the dirty socks, thus taking on the role of the lover or caretaker of the relationship, while the other partner acquiesces into the role of being cared for, that of the loved one. This is almost like the law of gravity. It's axiomatic that relationships, almost by definition, sooner or later, resolve themselves by polarity, and the two poles, or the two roles, are that of the lover, the caretaker or worrier, as my mom used to say, the one who picks up the socks, and the loved one, the object of affection and care, the what me worry type. It's not a choice, but an inevitability, like the little dog magnets that I had as a child. One partner attracts, and the other flips around and assumes the opposite polarity or role. If this flip does not happen, then real problems soon emerge in the relationship. Two alphas don't mix. All of this is pretty much a given. What is new is that until StarTypes, I had no way to clearly distinguish which partner in a relationship would assume which role. Well, that completes one concept, something for you to think about. Now, where to go from here? For those of you interested in learning more, I can suggest several resources depending on your time and interest. First, I have a free ebook that I wrote on StarTypes that introduces these concepts. The book runs 753 pages. It contains 230 full-color illustrations done by me. It goes into great detail on StarTypes and how to use them, and it can be downloaded as a PDF file for free here. Second, for those of you who are not comfortable with reading ebooks, most of my books are available in paperback format on Amazon.com, although of course they have to be purchased. You can find them by searching for Michael Erlewine or by title. And last but not least, for those of you who are not astrologers or don't have the time or interest in studying astrology, I've written several personal StarType reports, readings based on your birth date and year. In putting these reports together, I've done exactly what I would do if you and I could sit down for an astrology reading and look at your chart together. And you don't need to know any astrology to read these reports. They contain no astrological jargon and are direct and to the point. StarType reports are about your personal star type and your particular life path or direction. And I've had a lot of fun designing a series of astrological image cards for each of the star types to make them easier to remember. These reports are available online, instantly, and can be purchased 24/7 in easy-to-read PDF format at this link.